Hello once again to Wednesday Night Fightback, and I'm introducing here with William. Hello, William. And
Michael.
What I want to ask you today is a simple question. When was it that British politicians stopped knowing how to talk to the British people? When we look at the things they do, it's all about, we're not going to try and persuade you, we're going to try and fine you, or we're going to try and ban you doing this, or fine you for doing that, or, you know, they never try and persuade anymore. They just simply ban and fine. What's the matter with them? Do they just not know how to talk to? Have they forgotten the art of political persuasion, or what? What do you think is going on?
I think they probably have. I think on many topics, actually, politicians have lost the vocabulary. They can't even talk about these important issues. I mean, the more important an issue is, say on immigration or culture, or anything very important, politicians will run a mile rather than have a proper conversation about it. So the tendency to want to deal in platitudes or to, rely on, cheap comms is there. And they feel they have control over that. But I think, well, it's certainly got worse, Michael, because the worst example of this in recent memory was the lockdowns, where, basically there was an opportunity for the government to trust people, to ask people like adults and, decent citizens to do something but they couldn't. They had to respond with draconian measures. And so there wasn't any persuasion, was there? That was no,
it was command. It was a snare of cold command. As Shelley had it. One of the things, and of course all that does is it generates a low trust society. And basically low trust societies are societies people don't want to live in. They're societies with problems. And one of the things I want to bring to your attention right now, because I am just outraged by it, is this new amendment to the Equalities Law that employers are going to be potentially suable if their customers offend their employees. This is absolutely remarkable. I mean, this is a law which means that the employer has to distrust the employee. The employee has to distrust the employer. Both have to distrust whoever walks through the shop. I mean, the whole thing is absolutely insane. I would go further. It's not merely insane. Because it systematically lowers the level of expected trust within a society, it is sociopathic. It is an active encouragement to damage society and further the fissures in society already. What on earth are they thinking about? How are they doing?
It's bizarre. It's totally bizarre. Yeah, I actually was on GB News the other day and we had a discussion about this. I mean, there's one major practical problem with the proposal, which incidentally is two Lib Dems that proposed it, so we shouldn't be surprised.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, but they've proposed this thing now. That how can an employer, let's say a pub owner, be responsible to his employees or her employees for what a third party says? So a third party comes into the pub drinking a pint and says something that offends the employer. It's ridiculous. I mean, they don't have any control over that. They can't have any control over that. And if you value free speech and debate in pubs, then you really shouldn't have control over that. No one's arguing for people to be harassed, but this is just what they're doing is going down the wrong street here. As you say, there's a good way of doing something and a bad way. You can encourage people. You can have a civilized society where civility is encouraged, but debate is encouraged as well. But they think the basic premise they've got wrong is that they think they can legislate for harmony.
Yeah, it's extraordinary. I'm going to say something which is probably going to upset a few people. Sorry about this, guys. But I couldn't help noticing that the people who are promoting this are, towards the top of the humane society. And one wonders whether, the humane society can't see that there is a point about original sin, there is a point about grace. Put it another way, we're all assholes from time to time, William, apart from you, obviously. And therefore, we all need to be cut a little bit of slack from time to time when we are assholes. That's how society works, and it's actually how you build trust in a society. If all the time you say, right, I'm going to sue you,
Yeah, you can't go to law. I mean, you can't go to law on this stuff all the time. The accommodations that people make in life and the responses they have to things are part of being free.
Yeah.
And you can't legislate. But yeah, to think that we can have the Stasi in every pub is just not. It's not what Britain should be. I mean, I don't know where they get these ideas from, but it's unworldly, unworkable, and
bad. It's just bad. Now, William, despite all that, I know that you are keen on banning certain stuff. Tell me about the stuff you're keen on banning.
Well, yeah, we've discussed this a little bit, haven't we, Michael? I am quite keen. I mean, for instance, very recently the government has announced for the third or fourth time that it wants to ban wet wipes. Wet wipes is something which are disposable wipes with plastics in them. They don't degrade as they should do, and they end up in sewers and rivers, and they block pipes and other infrastructure, and they're just a menace. Now, I don't see any reason why they shouldn't be banned. I think they should. Incidentally, actually, there are some people debating it and saying they can't ban it because wet wipes will not be banned in Northern Ireland because they're subject to the rules that the EU set and therefore can't be. So we'll see about that. But I'm not. There are certain categories of things where I just think a sort of fairly crude approach is necessary. Another one is single-use plastic bottles for water, which I just can't for the life of me see why you should not ban those. If every citizen had, as every citizen should, a stainless steel container to drink from, we'd get rid of the costly scam of selling people water. We'd have public water fountains at public expense, and we'd get rid of all this unnecessary plastic. So I think certain things, this is where the sort of slightly paternalistic side of me comes out. And I think instead of going three sides around a square, you can certainly ban things like that.
Well, we're not very keen on banning things, but in this particular, on your water bottles, I'm probably prepared to go along with it. Primarily because I like fulmars, and fulmars, wonderful seabirds, the greatest seabirds of them all. They fly out into the middle of the Atlantic, thousands of miles, and they're guided by the smell of this particular bacteria. And unfortunately, decomposing plastic also releases that same smell. So they fly thousands of miles out into the middle of the Atlantic, and then they end up eating plastic. And I like fulmars. So that's a bad
I agree. I agree with you, and I think to not take responsibility when you can. I mean, on something like that, Michael, what's the cost? Some people might have to get themselves a bottle and might have to turn on the tap instead of buying this ludicrous Evian shipped in and ruining our trade balance. So there you go.
Yes, there we go. I have my water bottle here from Brighter. Got a good filter in it. I haven't used wet wipes, William, for a number of years.
That's good. That's good. I'm relieved to hear that, Michael. Anyway, okay, take care. Okay. See you next time.
All right, bye.
Bye-bye.